Welcome back to the Upper Tier Podcast. This is your England squad announcement final reaction. Craig, we said we'd jump on again to react to this once it was confirmed. We had a look at it there last week when they announced the provisional 33-man squad. But as always, head over to YouTube, Dynamo Podcast Network. As always, smash that bell notification button, hit the subscribe button, like, share all these episodes across your socials. And if you're looking to contact the show, you'll find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And as always, Anchor for audio versions of the show. Craig, talk to me. What's your take?
Yeah, obviously, as you know, I come off work, you send me like, here we go, and red is obviously highlighted for exits, and to be saying I'm thrown off the ball would be saying it lightly. I am shocked with some of the decisions. I know Mason Greenwood, if you're injured, you can't go. That's just straightforward. He'll have more tournaments coming, there's no doubt about it. If you're not 100%, you don't feel right, you don't go for the sake of going to a major tournament. It doesn't work like that. Age is on the side as well. Decisions for the other players, obviously we both had our thoughts. Some were okay, some were completely way off the mark. Just touching on one in particular that you made a great case for. Ward-Prowse is out. You said, obviously, your opinion was for him to go, and rightly so. You backed it up very well. That dead ball specialist is completely gone now. As in, a killer ball into the box, we're 1-1, we're 2-1 down. That's been taken away. As in, if you're drawing the game 1-1, you're frustrated, you've no other way around it. You could have thrown him on 4 set pieces, 4 corners, get the ball wide, work something. You've taken that kind of out of your armory now. Ollie Watkins hasn't gone either, I can see. I thought my original thinking was he's going to choose between him and Bamford, and he got picked over Bamford. He hasn't gone either, and Calvert-Lewin goes. I don't know how you feel about that yourself, but I can't really understand that from my point of view.
Yes, it's kind of a weird one. I suppose if we start with the goalkeepers anyway, we both called Ramsdale.
No offense to him, but he wasn't gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think to be honest, even announcing 4 goalkeepers in the 33 was kind of stupid anyway.
Yeah, it's not necessary at all.
When we get into the defense, the defenders is an interesting conundrum really, because some people would say that he's going to play a back 5 and be very conservative because it's naturally his way, Southgate.
He does like conservative. Yeah, he does.
Because he's bringing 4 right backs and 4 central defenders.
And 4 centre halves, So
it's kind of a weird one there, but you never know. I get the feeling he might go with a back 3 and 2 wing backs.
Yeah.
And then in defence, then 2 his picks. Where you look at midfield being so light, it's probably propped up with the wing backs, if you like, going more into midfield than actually in defence.
They'll come side by side to form nearly like a unit.
Yeah, like a 3-5-2.
And the players who play wing back play it nearly every week in the Premier League anyway. So they're used to the system. They're used to the going up and down like as such.
Yeah, I think we knew Ben Godfrey was going to come out, didn't we? And Ben White.
I called Trent to come out. I hold my hand up.
I had a feeling that he'd end up bringing Trent, because I knew Trent in terms of, he's one there that he's a kind of a dead ball specialist, and maybe he's
as close
over Ward-Prowse, possibly.
And he has big game experience. He has European final experience. For his age, it's remarkable what he has. His progression. You can't buy that, and you can't really call. You need to call upon your mature kind of within youth. It's still maturity as well.
And he's also had a phenomenal end to the season as well. Last 8-10 games,
he turned it around.
I don't know in defence. It's heavily loaded there. Would there be a case for taking Connor Cody out maybe and bringing James Ward-Prowse, maybe propping up the midfield just a little bit more?
That case can be definitely said, because taking Connor Cody out isn't the be all and end all. Whereas, no offense to Connor Cody, is he going to be called upon bar a severity of injuries? I don't think so.
Well, you've got Mings, Maguire, and John Stones.
I still wouldn't have took Mings. I would have took Conte. I know, it's in hindsight now, but
yeah. Well, he wasn't in the 33, so that was never going to change anyway. But I think the luxury of taking Connor Cody. Remember, Kyle Walker can play in there, and so can Reece James. So
Yeah.
he's really loaded up his defenders here. Now it'll be interesting to see what formation he goes with, but I probably would have left Connor Cody out and I would have brought Ward-Prowse, because your midfield there, depending on how
Very
you
light.
view the likes of your wing backs, that midfield to me looks very light. There's a lot of talent in there, but you pick up one or two injuries in there in the space of a tournament and you're in serious trouble, you know?
They're going to have to be looking at Trent and maybe asking him to fill in on the right centre mid, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Possibly.
What about Lingard? Lingard's an interesting one. I mean, he must have thought he was a shoe-in. I mean, he was basically pivotal in West Ham getting European football this year.
Like, he's so creative and he's found himself again. All credit to him. He's gone off, he's joined a new club and he's been instrumental to their success, you know. And he can be the difference in a big game as well, you know. He can pop up with a goal, he can pop up with an assist, he can pop up with a moment of magic. And that's another thing you're taking out of your armory. As you touched on, the midfield is extremely light, like, you know, for a tournament. You know what I mean? If you imagine you had Lingard and Ward-Prowse as options to call upon,
yeah,
you know, they're not bad options to be, like. You know?
Yeah, I mean, again, when we talk about these players, it's no disrespect to any of the players that we're talking about. You know what I mean? They've all had reasonably very good seasons, you know. But I'm just thinking there, you have Calvin Phillips in there, right? Who's kind of had.
Oh, he actually said that he would stay.
Yeah, you called it, but I think he's had quite an indifferent season. I mean, he was out with injury for a while.
He was out with injury for a while, yeah.
And remember with Leeds as well, and we're dropping the Leeds. We'll have a Leeds season review coming up soon on the podcast. But I don't know, like, if you're bringing Declan Rice, who plays for West Ham, obviously, would you not bring Jesse Lingard, because they've been linking up this season for the last 5-6 months of the season? So you'd have that little bit of synergy there.
You'd have that bit of understanding, natural understanding there already. You know?
Yeah, and I just don't get it. And I mean, I don't know what more. Like, if we look at Trent and we say Trent has played his way into the squad in the last 10, 12 games, then he's not using that thinking then when you look at Jesse Lingard, because Jesse Lingard's been phenomenal since he went to West Ham. So someone tell me what Calvin Phillips has done that Jesse Lingard hasn't done in the last 6 months of the season. I don't get it.
And like, no offense to West Ham at all whatsoever, but you know, it's meaningful for them as in a player to take it by the scruff and perform like that and get them results. Yeah. Whereas in a top 4/top 6 team, all no disrespect aside, it doesn't get as noticed much when, you know, someone pops up with a goal. They're expected to do it. But Lingard has literally been week in, week out, so involved and key.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
why wouldn't you want to roll with that? Why wouldn't you want to roll with that into a tournament, with that form, with that highness, with that energy, with the buzz, you know?
Yeah, I'm thinking I'd be taking Connor Cody out and I'd be putting James Ward-Prowse in, and I'd be taking Calvin Phillips out and I'd be putting Jesse Lingard in. That's what I would be changing.
I do. I know I did say Phillips going, but I do understand with the selection that hasn't gone why you would sacrifice Phillips in this situation. You have Henderson, you have Rice, you're covered in that area. You know what I mean?
And again,
it's either gonna, you know, it's gonna kill him or it's gonna work. You know, England, everything gets dissected at England.
Yeah, it just depends on what way they kind of categorize the players, isn't it? Because I mean, I just don't know. To me, I think he could pull a fast one. I think people are expecting that back five. I think he could go with a 3-5-2 with those fast wing backs going up, you know, supporting the play and stuff like that. And sit in there,
side, like, you know,
sit in there with 3 in midfield, you know, with maybe Hendo playing that
Phillips
kind of that Fabinho role, you know, that holding midfield role. Maybe
he will.
You know what I mean?
I think he'll just pivot in front of the tree. You know what I mean? Yeah. He'll just cover that kind of like a screen in front of the tree.
Yeah.
You know?
In terms of the forwards as well, it's kind of, I thought it was a bit weird as well, because his kind of opening sort of speech really talking about it was he felt there was no room for bringing any tourists. But yeah, he has a load of defenders and a load of forwards and kind of a light midfield. So there's obviously going to be a lot of tourists if you think about it, you know. Like Ollie Watkins, who's had an outstanding season with Aston Villa. And again, I would think you have Saka's there for Arsenal. And again, no disrespect to Saka, phenomenal player and stuff like that, you know. But if you have Jack Grealish in there, would you not have brought Ollie Watkins again because of the link-up play
Yeah.
and the synergy that's there all season, as opposed to bringing Saka? And it's just a kind of a weird conundrum there. I just don't get it. And then
It's completely true. Like, why not bring two lads who are every week, buzzing in training, good performances week in, week out.
Yeah.
And then they're going into camp together, they know each other, they're buzzing off each other after the season they've just had, they're all up for it. Why not roll with that?
Yeah, that's just to have that little bit of synergy and link-up play, because you can imagine if they have a Declan Rice with a Jesse Lingard and you have a Jack Grealish with an Ollie Watkins, there's an understanding there straight away. So it was kind of a strange one. And in terms of Raheem Sterling as well, I mean, I sort of made the case that you could easily drop Raheem Sterling, but then we also said as well, in terms of experience, that there's a lack of experience in the side as well when you go down through the spine of the side. And I was thinking, that's kind of why you have to bring him.
The only way, Niall, though, that the players can get experience is being picked as well, I guess you could say.
Yeah, but when you get into one of those matches, let's say you come up against a France or a Portugal and a Germany, and it's not quite going your way, that's when
which
you need
is more than likely going to happen.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Raheem Sterling might be the kind of player that would grab a game like that by the balls and pull it together and stuff like that. But I think with him in there, and I know he was poor in the Champions League final, there's no doubt about it. Reece James made an absolute show of him. But I just think with that kind of experience in there, with Harry Kane and stuff like that as well, can be vital at times when things just slightly aren't going your way.
Yeah.
That maybe a Phil Foden or a Calvert-Lewin. Yeah, exactly. And I think that's probably the case for having him in there. If you were going purely on form, he wouldn't be anywhere near it. I mean, his form in the last 3, 4, 5, 6 months has been horrific, really terrible.
It seems like I think you hit the nail on the head. Like, it seems that Gareth hasn't really been focusing on form, has he? And as in, like, recent form. Not really. Like,
I mean, I suppose it's trying to find a balance between. You've so much raw youth talent there now in the England squad. It's how you pull it all together to synergistically play together. And that's why I thought it would be a very good idea that, like, if you're bringing Declan Rice, bring Jesse Lingard. They've been playing together for 6 months. If you're bringing Grealish, bring Ollie Watkins. They've been playing together. So you have that kind of built-in kind of synergy there, even though he might play different formations or, you're going to be playing with other players as well. But at least kind of a little bit of a head start, whereas it's not 11 blank players going out to play a game. And again, you have Mings as well there from Villa as well in defence, so...
I think it brings the occasion slightly down a bit and relaxes you more. You have your mate there. He's at your club. You have that bit of trust, that bit of bond. That could be vital as well. You're a bit more relaxed. You're a bit more assured. You're getting out that player beside you. There's a bit of trust.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you think about that spine there, you have Mings in defence, you have Grealish, and then you have Grealish and where am I going
Watkins.
now, Watkins. You know what I mean? So the three boys have been playing together. They've had a good season. Villa had a good season. There's no doubt about it. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, that would be my thinking on it. Like, let's get it. Like, it's going to be tough to get a little bit of synergy in there, but we'll bring a little bit of synergy, and then you might be less reliant then potentially on needing that experience, because the guys are going to fight hard for each other, because not only are the England teammates, but they're also club teammates, so they know, so that was my thinking on it,
If you're in midfield, say Grealish, and he comes up against the Belgium or someone and it's not going your way, if he hears Tyrone Mings saying, Jack, keep the head up and all, he knows straight away that he means that and that he believes in him to kind of just, right, I'm going to keep going. Tyrone is kind of giving him the backing, you know what I mean? Which he does at club level anyway, you know what I mean? Or Grealish for Watkins, you could even say, as in, keep the head up, keep going. Yeah. It's vital. And it can make a difference, you know what I mean?
It's going to be a very interesting tournament now when you look at that squad there, because
it's on him.
If he goes with a back five, the press and the media be in on him like unbelievable. But I've a sneaky feeling he's going to go with a 3-5-2, and I think that's why the midfield isn't as low.
Do you think so?
And players are just being classified as defenders, but they're not actually going to be defenders. I mean, why the 4 centre backs is kind of a weird one, when you see the options that you have there. And I just thought I can't believe he's left James Ward-Prowse out. Like, he's as a dead ball specialist. he's incredible. You know what I mean? I mean, he's equal nearly to a goal, a free kick if you get it around that 80.
Do you think he'll partner Watkins with Kane? Do you think they'll or Calvert-Lewin? Who do you think part the two up front? Who do you think?
really
Who do you
don't
think
know.
is best suited?
I don't know, because you see, Kane playing for Spurs has had a very different role to Kane playing for England.
Coming deep, like, you know. So,
yeah, so it's kind of different, where you'd have Kane dropping deep, kind of nearly like a Firmino type of situation, and then you'd have players going by him, you know. But it's going to be, I mean, it's going to be a massive tournament for Marcus Rashford. I mean, he's going to have to really, you know, and he's going to be out there. I presume he's going to be out there on the left, isn't he? So it's kind of like, I don't know.
Sancho, I'm guessing, on the right.
You have so much competition there in those forwards, because you have so many players picked that are playing against each other in terms of the same position. You know what I mean? So I couldn't tell you now. If you asked me what his starting 11 was now, I wouldn't have a clue. I wouldn't have a clue, because I don't know whether he's going to go. I don't know what formation he's going to play. Is he going to play with a back five? Is he going to play with a 3-5-2? Is he going to play with a 4-4-2? What's he going to play with? You know, I just don't know.
Or is he going to do? Is he going to do a 4-4-1-1 where you have a striker just off the front man? Could Kane be the one who just drops in behind, deep in the pocket, just off the front man?
I don't know. Again, I think if you go with a 4-4-1-1, or you're not saying the same as nearly if you're going with a back five, it's a bit negative, isn't it? When you think of the talent they have available and you're going with one up front.
They'd be lifted over for that though by the media before the game even kicks off. You know what I mean? They'd be like, "Oh, why are you being negative? Why are you being, you know, conservative?"
Absolutely. Well,
what's your thoughts? What's your thoughts, Niall, on how they can do in the Euros, as in overall? How far do you think they can go realistically? Or what do you think they can do with that squad?
They've enough talent there to at least get to a semi-final, I think. Again, it depends on how it goes. And I suppose with France, Germany, and Portugal all in the one group?
The group of death.
Yeah, that helps the tournament a lot in terms of the other teams. So it depends on what way teams progress through it and stuff like that. But like, I mean, they've buckets of talent there, you know what I mean? But it's the same old adage when it comes to the tournaments, you know what I mean? They just don't seem to pull it together. But I mean, this is another thing. I'll tell you, this could be a good sort of tryout really for the World Cup, because a lot of these lads will be heavily matured by that stage. When you see the likes of Bellingham and Sancho and Foden and players like that, Mason Mount, imagine them with another 2 years under their belt and they're going out on international level. So I kind of think, I'm thinking at the moment quarters or semis. I'm thinking in 2 years' time at the World Cup with that more experience underneath them, you know, you could see them getting to a final. They've buckets of talent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So, the likes of Mount and all, who are also really young, are playing Champions League finals, they're playing club finals, you know. So they're gaining that maturity with that as well.
It's whether Southgate has the actual intestinal fortitude to actually pick the right team and take the risk and put those players in when they need to be put in, or is he going to keep on playing that safe card all the time?
Time will tell, and he'll be found. We'll know, like, and he'll know himself. He'll get a reaction one way or another. Like,
absolutely. Well, anyway, this has been our England squad announcement reaction. Head over to YouTube, Dynamo Podcast Network, Anchor for audio versions of the show, and you'll find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, The Upper Tier. Craig, appreciate you coming on, my man.
Cheers, Noel. Thanks very much.